rainy June morning. I am working a 7:30 till 5:30 shift today. I'm running on caffeine and dry shampoo right now. I've had a really busy week, so I'm running a little bit low on sleep, which, as I always talk about in my videos, is really paramount to functioning well. We all know that. Actually, I say that, I'm not actually feeling that bad. Woke up this morning and got myself moving straight away, did a little bit of a mini workout, and I've had loads of water, I've had a cup of coffee, so I'm actually feeling okay. I wish I'd made time to wash my hair last night though. I'm living on the dry shampoo life, but that's just the case a lot of the time when you're working in healthcare. You just gotta get by. Today I'm allocated to work in the urgent treatment unit, and I really like working in here because you honestly never know what you're going to see. So you might have some patients who are really well and they just need some advice and reassurance about their condition, and other patients end up being really poorly and needing to be transferred to the resus department. And I did have one patient who needed to go to resus from my shift today, and I'll be talking about some of my cases later in the video, so make sure you're watching all the way to the end. When we're not seeing patients, we spend time typing up the notes, ordering scans, blood tests and other investigations, and discussing with other teams about the management for patients. After 10 hours of wearing a mask, I am ready to go home, and the sun is shining. I'm glad to be outside. It's such a nice evening. Okay, I am home. It is a beautiful evening here. I've got myself a nice icy cold drink. I'll tell you a little bit about the stuff that I've seen from work today. So for those of you who are interested in just the medical stuff, then stick around for the next few minutes while I talk about the medical things that I've seen today. And for those of you who are longer time watchers and interested in what I've been up to, I thought we could have a little bit of a chatty catch up because it's been a while since we've done one of those. While it's been really hot weather, I've been making myself iced green tea, adding a little bit of elderflower cordial and some fresh lemon and loads of ice, and it is divine, so refreshing in the hot weather. One of the patients I saw today had fast AF, and fast AF is atrial fibrillation at a rate of over 100 beats per minute. And atrial fibrillation is where atria are beating out of sync from what they normally would, get a kind of this kind of movement, which is what they call fibrillation. That means that the heart isn't pumping effectively. There's a couple of things that we have to think about with fast AF. One of them is what is causing it. Is there something that has provoked it to happen? So things like infections can precipitate it. So we need to investigate to see if there is something making it happen. And then the other things we need to think about are getting the rate under control and getting the rhythm under control. So slowing that heart rate down so that all of the tissues can be perfused adequately, especially the heart tissue itself, getting the rhythm under control, so trying to actually step that person out of AF. I was working in the urgent treatment unit, so these patients are people who are up and about on their feet and able to kind of walk around, but this patient, I actually had to get him on a trolley and transfer him around to the resus department so that he could have the cardioversion treatment to get his heart back into the correct rhythm. So that was interesting. If it hadn't have been so busy in there today, I would have actually wanted to stay in resus and do that myself, but it was too busy, so I had to come back, which is a shame. Yeah, interesting stuff though. And my quickest patient of the day, this was such a quick win. I really enjoy having some patients like this sometimes. Was someone who had got something stuck in their ear. It was an earbud. So I got some sterile tweezers, literally pulled it out. There was no trauma. An earbud as in like from headphones. The soft squidgy bit had just got stuck in their ear. Literally pulled it out. There was no debris left in there. They were fine. They could go home. So that was super easy and really satisfying. And I also saw someone who'd come in with a problem with their diabetes. They were a type 1 diabetic patient. They had been struggling to maintain their usual insulin regime for a variety of reasons, which I won't share on here. We had to do a load of tests on this person to make sure they weren't in something called DKA, which is diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a condition where your blood sugar gets really high, normally from not having any or not having enough insulin for your cells to be able to effectively use that glucose. insulin is needed for that. And if your cells can't access that glucose, you start metabolizing differently and producing ketones, and that can make your blood acidotic. So you have a really fine acid alkali base. You have a really delicate balance of your acid and alkaline in your blood, and this can push it into acidosis, which can be really dangerous. Patients can be really dehydrated, they can be really unwell, stomach pain, cramps, nausea, vomiting, and we need to make sure that they're well hydrated. We need to make sure that their insulin and their glucose levels are really kept within very strict balance. So, sorry, it's been a long day, I'm struggling to get my words out. This patient actually wasn't in DKA, he didn't have diabetic ketoacidosis, and so I did a few tests on him, ran things past my consultant just to make sure that they were happy, that the patient was well, and we arranged some diabetes follow-up for him to make sure that he understands about his medication and that things don't go awry for him in the future. Because the thing is with diabetes is that it doesn't just have the short-term consequences can be really serious and very severe, but it also has long-term implications, and so we really want to try and help patients to manage their glucose control as well as possible, to help them feel better in the short term, but also to live a long and healthy lifespan. So that was a really positive interaction, and I think I got the feeling that I'd really helped that patient, and he was really grateful, so that was quite nice. So I also saw some interesting patients with chest pain in A&E. That is the bread and butter. We always see people with chest pain, and there's a good reason for that, that chest pain can be really serious things, and they are things that you don't want to miss, things that, you know, MI, myocardial infarction, PEs, and then we're obviously getting problems with people coming in post-vaccine. So we've got really strict criteria and pathways that we follow to investigate those patients, and we obviously take everyone seriously. So that's been really interesting, and yeah, I'm glad to be done with the day. It was a really good shift actually, and the good thing about the urgent treatment unit is you have your own cubicle. It's actually quite a sociable environment. So the cubicles are kind of set up that you're surrounded by other doctors and nurses, and so it was quite nice that I was sitting opposite one of my colleagues who I get on really well with, and between patients while we were typing our notes we could have a little chit chat, which was really lovely. She's a brilliant doctor, and we had a great nursing team on as well today, so that makes everything run smoother. Considering I've only had the 6 hours sleep, I'm actually feeling very fresh, but I'm really glad it's done, because I've got one of my friends coming up tomorrow who had a baby during lockdown, and her baby has turned 1 and beyond. She's nearly 18 months now, and I still haven't met her, and I'm so excited to meet her and to see my friend and her husband. So that's going to be lovely and really nice to be able to have people to the house. So yeah, just thought we could catch up a little bit. So we've been in the house now for, what has it been, 4 months, I think. We're feeling really nice and settled here. I was wondering whether you would be interested in seeing a house tour, but I haven't done one because we haven't fully decorated and haven't fully decked out the house yet. We've bought furniture for our bedroom, some stuff for the kitchen and the garden, and the spare bedroom, so that we could have people to stay once lockdown was lifted, but the rest of the house we not that we've run out of money, but we're keeping money aside for the wedding, so we've stopped buying furniture for the time being. We've got so much to buy, so the house is looking quite empty, so I was thinking like, oh, I'll wait to do a house tour until we've finished, but I think that might be over a year away, so I didn't know if you wanted to see a house tour now, even though it's not all finished, or whether you'd rather me wait until it's all sorted. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and whether you would be interested in seeing a house tour now. And for those of you who are interested in the house, then I've got a whole Instagram account, sarah.n.lifestyle, where I'm sharing updates and things on there, and there's loads of highlights of the kind of process that I've gone through with the decorating. So it's so different from our previous house. So the last house we were living in was a 2-bedroom semi. It was actually Vince's house that he owned before we even met, and then this house is what we've bought together, and we searched, I think we were house hunting for we started house hunting before we went travelling. So I think we were house hunting for well over a year. We just couldn't find the right thing. We had a few things fall through. We put offers on things that got accepted and they ended up falling through, and it was a real roller coaster house hunting. I don't know if any of you are going through it at the moment, but it's definitely an emotional roller coaster. But we decided that we wanted something with a big garden because Vince had this really lovely idea of getting married in our own garden, which is super sweet, and we didn't know if that was gonna be possible with our budget. So we searched high and low, and we kept holding out and hoping that something would come along. And eventually we found the property that we've now moved into, which has a massive garden. It's gorgeous, and beautiful woodlands as well. There's loads of wildlife here, loads and loads of badgers and amazing birds living. I'm literally looking outside at the moment. Badgers, birds, there's owls, woodpeckers. I'm in love with living here for the outside space, but also the house is gorgeous as well, and it didn't really need too much doing to it, which was great. We wanted to do some aesthetic things to it, but nothing structural really that needed doing. The people that lived here before did loads of work to it and have taken really great care of it, and put a lot of love into this house. So we are thrilled to be living here, and we hope that this is our forever home. We're just trying to kind of get ourselves established in the community and get to know our neighbours and things, which is lovely, because where we were before, we always knew that it wasn't our forever home. So although we loved our neighbours dearly and we got on really well with them, I never really set roots where we were living and didn't really get to know people locally, didn't kind of establish myself in that area. Here it's just lovely to be able to feel like we're going to be here for a really long time and get to know people, and feel part of the community. I think that's an important part of well-being. My life now consists of things like moving lots of piles of wood, and we had a ditch filled in at the weekend. So those kind of exciting things are what's keeping me going at the moment. I'm also busy trying to grow my own vegetables, which again, if you want to follow me on my lifestyle Instagram account, you can see all about that, and I'm actually really enjoying it. You guys know that I am really into nourishing your body, feeding yourself with great fuel, to make you feel good on the inside, and there's obviously the long-term health benefits as well that has. But I have this really sort of good life idea of growing the majority of our own fruit and veg in the future. So this year Vince bought me a veg trug, which is like this vegetable bed, and I'm growing a few things myself. So I've got some courgettes and carrots, some tomatoes and strawberries and things. I thought I'd try in one trug to grow a few things and make all the mistakes that I need to make before we get some. We're going to eventually have some raised beds somewhere in the garden. But I just kind of wanted this year to be a bit of a practice run, and I have made a lot of mistakes. I planted way too many things, so they're all kind of competing and overgrowing each other. I think I've got a lot to learn, and it's been a great experience though. And I had my first courgette the other day from my own batch, and it was really great to eat something that I had grown. And then onto something that's a bit more sort of, I don't know, dramatic maybe, is that I had a bit of a strange experience where I was told that from my YouTube channel, someone who had been watching my videos has been turning up at my workplace and trying to get access to me. So that has been a bit off-putting and a bit strange, and it's kind of put me off filming so much. I've been a bit sparse with my YouTube uploads, and I think it's because that kind of put me off rhythm, and obviously we've been busy with the move and everything. But yeah, I haven't really been posting on my normal Dr. Sarah Nicholls Instagram account and kind of updating you about what I'm up to and telling you about interesting stuff from work, because I've just felt a bit weird about the fact that that's happened. But I suppose that is one of the the things that you have to contend with when you start putting yourself out there online. Been seriously wondering about whether it's even worth carrying on with my YouTube channel, and or whether to completely change the format so I'm not doing vlogs anymore. But then I get really sweet messages from you guys, and it really motivates me to want to carry on making videos. But I may just be changing the format slightly and doing kind of more sit down chatty videos than vlogs. Anyway, also I feel like you guys have been here for the journey of getting a dog and having a puppy. Bonnie turned 1 last weekend, which is so exciting. She still looks really tiny. Like, she looks a lot bigger than when she was an actual puppy. She doesn't look like the little fluff ball that she was when we first got her. But yeah, she's very petite for a border collie. Yeah, she's doing well. I'll have to show you more of her in my vlogs. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you about was I had my appraisal recently. And as you know, I'm a locum doctor, so that means that I don't work on a rota, and that's the whole reason I wanted to be a locum, so that I've got control of my own hours. I choose my shifts that I work. If I want to have time off, I don't have to ask anyone's permission. So yeah, as a locum, your appraisal is slightly different to when you're in a training job as a junior doctor. And I was a bit nervous about it because I was worried that I hadn't jumped through enough of the hoops that you have to jump through, and I've tried to do my best, but you kind of haven't really got anyone guiding you, and I don't really have loads of friends who are locums doing a similar sort of thing to me, so you haven't got your cohort that you can kind of compare notes with. Had my meeting with my appraiser and it all went really well, actually. I think there are things that I can improve on for next year, and next year is when I revalidate. So as doctors, you have to revalidate every 5 years, and it's basically a way of the GMC checking that you are a good doctor, that you are well, that your colleagues think you're a good doctor, and that you are staying up to date with your learning, development and knowledge, all for the sake of making sure that patients stay safe and that you're a safe practitioner, so that no one really falls through the net that isn't being sort of checked up on every at least 5 years. And then every year you still have to have appraisals, and there's things you have to do yearly, but this is more of a kind of in-depth 5-yearly look. So I've got that next year, and that will mean that I've been a doctor for 5 years, which is crazy. That's done and dusted, and it's a real relief to have that done for the next year. Right guys, that's it. I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're up to. I'm going to go and make some dinner. We're having sausage and kale gnocchi tonight. Meat-free sausage, actually. It's a recipe that my sister sent me. It's absolutely delicious. In fact, I'll share it on my next newsletter, which brings me to, if you're interested in having a weekly update from me, then make sure you are signed up to my newsletter. I'll put it in the description box below, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.